Hi everybody, it's Melissa here from Youth Work Ireland, Cavan, Monaghan, and I'm part of the Youth Information Project. And welcome to Friday Live on Facebook. So we've had different people on every week just trying to give young people information on different services that are around the county. So today we have Eithne O'Callaghan, and Eithne is here from the Adult Guidance and Information Service. So we're just going to have a chat with Eithne. Hi Eithne, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. So we're just going to have a chat with you, Eithne, about your service and what you offer and what's available in the county. So I just start off with, what is guidance counselling and what can you offer?
Okay, guidance counselling is a process between the guidance counsellor and a client. We call them a client, so a person who is looking to find their way in terms of, their career direction and what kind of career they want to do. Most people would be familiar with a guidance counsellor in a school setting, where you may have classes, or you meet a guidance counsellor on a one-to-one. So where I work is within the adult education service. So we are specifically there within the community to work with people who are 16 up and who are not in a formal school setting. So, young people that maybe are doing other programs outside of a school setting that don't have access to a guidance service would be eligible to come to ourselves. We obviously run classes as well for 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds, and we would provide a service to all students in all classes. So some students that want to move on. So the session itself involves, I'll sit in a room with someone. I would ask them questions about their interests, their abilities, what they want to do, maybe look at previous employment, previous education. And it's really a lot of questions, open-ended questions, allowing them to talk freely in a very confidential environment. It's a service that we provide. There's no cost to it. And we, as I said, we provide it to anybody that's over 16. Mm-hmm. So it's giving them a chance to, I suppose, explore what's available and what's out there. We're really supposed to know really what is available everywhere. We try our best in doing that. And, if someone has an idea in their head and maybe not sure how to go about doing it, we kind of give them the path and the direction to maybe find out how to do that.
And like you're saying, Eithne, because I've referred some people to your service before, and it's great for them because, like that, some people might think you can only get career guidance when you're in school. And then when they leave, and maybe they've had a few years where they've been working, maybe they've had a few years where they've been unemployed, and they really don't know what they want to do. They kind of have an idea, but they don't know how to go about it. And then when I say to them, actually, there's an adult career guidance, they're quite surprised and they're delighted because they think that wouldn't be available to them anymore because they're not in school. But you're providing it through Cavan, Monaghan, ETB to 16 plus and those who are outside of formal school settings. So mature students or anybody that's 16 plus basically, and adults to have. So it's a great chance for people, and that it's free of charge. So that's really good.
And the most important thing to notice is while we, where we work with CMETB, we do refer people to all courses outside of CMETB. So we deal with people that want to go into higher education. We deal with graduates actually that are maybe unemployed. And the unemployed would be our biggest category of people. We would get a lot of referrals from social welfare, from the likes of youth information centres like yourselves, from youth workers. And really, it's everybody that comes in is different and everybody has a different story. But we don't turn anybody away. And, sometimes for people, it is really just a one-off session and that's enough for them. For others, it may require, I might need to do some further investigation and then I get back to them with further information, or vice versa. So it's a two-way process, which is really important. I put in as much as I get back, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. That you're there to help them, but then they need to be thinking about what they want and giving you kind of feedback on what they're interested in.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the key thing.
Like you're saying, you might have some people who are unemployed who are thinking of, pursuing going back into education. So Do you have to meet any criteria to meet you?
No. Well, I mean, obviously we don't deal with young people that are in school.
Yeah.
So we deal with people that are outside of the school setting because they have a service within their school. So outside of that, really there isn't. I mean, you can ring and double check as well. Sometimes it's just information. Actually, some people want, and they just want information about a course, or they've seen something online and they want to get a bit of advice on it. So sometimes you mightn't even need to come in. I suppose at the minute, obviously we're all working from home. The offices aren't open. I'm doing Zoom calls. I'm using Teams now, Microsoft Teams as our method of communication. I'm ringing people, I'm emailing them. You know, and people are still in contact with us. They're still contacting us. They're still interested in doing something regardless of the pandemic. So it's very important that, you know, people know that we're still open and we're still available and we're still taking calls, and we can contact you as well.
Yeah, so it's even easier for them now because they don't even have to leave their house.
Absolutely, yeah. Like it's absolutely, yeah. And
so yeah, so you can take phone calls or you can do a video call or whatever they need.
Video calling's working out great actually, because it's as good as sitting in front of someone, you know. It's not going to replace it obviously, but it's the next best thing. So it gives a good chance to kind of explore, you know, and that's what we do. We are exploring people's interests, and I think it's really important that people follow their interests and not go into something for the sake of going into it, or because someone told them they should go into it. You know, they won't last if they don't stick with it, if they're not interested in it. That's really important, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose even sometimes when people maybe leave school early, or they went straight into employment or something like that, it can scare them to think about going back into education, yet they want to pursue a career in something. So it's kind of having you there to kind of chat to them about it and tell them what to expect. And, you know, sometimes the thought of it can be nearly worse than actually going and doing it. So it's great to kind of have somebody there to kind of, you know, show them what paths they will have to take.
Yeah, I appreciate that. For some people, you know, we're the first step, you know, it is very daunting. I find a lot of the younger 16, 17-year-olds might come in with a parent. So that's fine. That's actually what we would expect because they're under the age of 18. And we would have maybe even the schools would refer someone that maybe dropped out of school and would refer them to us as well. And it's just letting them know there's alternatives, you know, there is alternatives to school. Not having a leaving cert is not the end of the world. There's definitely lots of other options and opportunities available, more so now than ever. Yeah. And it's getting them on the right track and trying to support them as much as you can. And, you know, we would have a lot of people that would have left school very early. We have an adult literacy service who specifically deal with people that may have difficulty with reading and writing, maybe not have the communication skills to deal with things, and may also have lack in computer skills. So, you know, there's something for everybody, even that low basic levels courses, and you can work your way right up. And I think seeing people move up the levels and getting better every day is really, you know, that's what keeps us all going and working in this area.
Yeah, to see somebody progress and getting what they want, and, you know, moving forward is great. So at the moment then, everything is online at the moment?
Yeah, on Tuesday the Adult Education Service released a timetable of part-time classes that are starting in September. So at the minute, there are dates on those and start dates. This is for County Monaghan and County Cavan. Dates are all on the CMETB website and CMETB adultguidance.ie, which is the guidance website. And so all the courses at the minute are probably going to be on some form of blended learning from September. So what that means is maybe 1 week they might be in the classroom, the next week they're at home getting their notes. So I suppose we're trying to facilitate as many people into a classroom as possible, but with social distancing, you know, we are going to be limited in numbers. So we really don't know how it's going to impact. And, you know, I suppose fingers crossed everything works out. So there's classes, and all the courses at the minute are all planned. And they're all planned to run from the end of August, beginning of September. So there's part-time courses, there's full-time courses. You know, there's the likes of the PLC Courses and Monaghan Institute and Cavan Institute. They're full-time, they're still taking applications. There's the training type courses, which you can get a training allowance. There's an awful lot of different, I understand that there's an awful lot of different courses, and some have a payment and some don't. And that can be difficult to navigate, and that's where we kind of come in as well. We would, if someone says they're on a social welfare payment and what course can I do? Obviously, all our courses are free. Most of them are free. But for some, you can stay on a social welfare payment and you can continue to do your course. So it's really important that people check that out beforehand. Give us a call, send us an email, and we can kind of tell you straight away what you're going to be entitled to or not.
Yeah, once you know their individual circumstances,
Yeah.
you'll be able to kind of steer them in the right direction of what suits them and what's right for them, and there's, like you're saying, their social welfare payment or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I suppose then I was going to ask you, what advice would you give somebody then that is trying to decide on a course? Like, what should be influencing the type of course that they want to do? What should they be thinking about?
Like I would often say to people is, just get a blank page, get a pen and start writing down the things that you actually are interested in, the things that you like doing. Do you like working with people? Do you think you'd prefer to work with things or machines? Would you like to be in the background? Would you like to be in the front? Do you like managing people? Do you feel you're a good communicator? And trying to think of your skills and trying to think of the environment that you want to work in. Do you want to work outside? Do you want to work inside? I suppose there's an awful lot that you can actually, to be honest, most people that come into me, first thing they say to me, I haven't a clue what I want to do. And then within 5 minutes of me just kind of asking a few questions, they've ruled out loads. And there's actually a couple of things in the back of their head. And it's just, I suppose that's part of the guidance counselling process, is trying to get that out of them. What is it that they probably know what they want to do, they just can't articulate it, or they just can't foresee that they have any possibility of doing that. And it's kind of showing them actually there is alternative paths. And yes, there's lots of routes that you can go down if this is the route that you want to go. So I suppose definitely thinking in advance about what you want to do and coming in with an attitude, I suppose, that you want to, we're there to help you and we'll help you if but you have to let us help you as well. I suppose that's the main thing.
And I know sometimes even with working with young people myself who might be outside of school, that sometimes there's a block there because maybe they've been told so many times that, you won't be able to do this, or you can't do this, or, because maybe they dropped out or whatever happened at home circumstances, that they don't believe that they actually can achieve the things that they want. So like that, you're saying to have your mind open to being like, well, it might take you a bit longer, but there is a path to getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And like you're saying as well, I was thinking, I know what I don't want to do.
Yeah, most people know what they don't want to do. Yeah, that's true. That's usually the first thing that comes out, which is great, because I say, well, at least that rules things out, so we're not looking at thousands and thousands of things here. We're looking at, let's start off. And, I suppose for a lot of people actually just starting off and getting their computer skills up to date. Because I suppose now we're in the mode now where if we're going back in September to some form of blended learning, one of the things that we're offering actually is these IT sessions. They're over, and there's a couple of dates in August where we're going to go through things like Moodle and using Teams. That's going to be the method of communication. Your classes will be delivered through these methods, so you need to be familiar with them. So there's lots of things, and getting people online, there's lots of things that we can do prior to September to making sure that you have them skills before you even start.
And that's why it'd probably be a good idea to think about it now. Okay, I know, right, it's the 10th of July, but you're saying there's some stuff starting in August. So this is the time to kind of prep now and to have a wee look around and think about it. Yes. So it would be good for them to be getting in contact now and like you're saying, those courses have been released, having a look at them and seeing if there's something of interest.
Yeah, there's one starting, I think, even in the next week or so, around getting back in preparation for study from September. The Facebook page is, to be honest, the best place to get all the information. Now, the amount of information that's coming in on that, new courses every day, that I have to keep my head up above it as well. So there's a new one, I think it's starting around the 17th. And it's around getting people back, and it'll be online. So I think it's only for 2 or 3 weeks, but just getting you the skills necessary. So before you even start in September. So yeah, like it's never too late. I would say get started and start looking up and start contact us and say, look, you're interested in going back and doing something, and then that's the first stage.
Mm-hmm. And like you say, it'd be really good to do maybe some of those IT stuff for them to feel confident to do the blended learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know I didn't know what Zoom was 3 months ago, but I certainly do now.
All of us, yeah. It's a new way of communicating, yeah.
Yeah. So everybody, it's the thought that maybe it's a daunting experience, but when you actually do it and somebody kind of talks you through it and gives you the steps, it's actually quite easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. I was just going to ask you something there and now I forget. So it does. What about people who maybe already have a diploma or a degree, but they find themselves unemployed? Can they come and talk to you too, maybe about going further?
Yeah, that would make a good, we would have a lot of graduates, actually, we call them graduates. And for a lot of them, actually, they've either chosen the wrong course. So they've, some of them actually have dropped out and maybe done a year or two. Some of them have chosen the wrong course. They've got a degree, but they're actually unemployed because they have no experience. I would say for a lot of graduates, I think any work experience is really important. So it looks better on a CV to be working, even if it is in something that, it's not your end career, but to be working and doing something and earning money does look better for a future employer. But yeah, graduates, I suppose recent graduates, so graduates that maybe are just finishing college now, they do have the same service that we provide within their college or university. So they're always the first port of call that I would say to people, because they would be familiar with their degree, they would be familiar with what other graduates have done. But yes, we would often get graduates who maybe left 6 months ago, 2 years, 3 years, maybe come back from traveling. And for a lot of them, just to look at doing different things. So there's a lot of things at the minute, even around springboard courses. They've just released courses there in the last week or so. So a lot of them are actually at higher education level. They're free and they're all funded by the government. And some of them are fantastic opportunities for graduates to do. A lot of them are online as well. So again, there's an awful lot of things that even graduates can do. So yeah, look, we don't turn anybody away. If we would speak to them and see if best we can how we can help them.
Okay, oh, that's great. And even then, I'm just thinking about, because the Leaving Cert results are going to be coming out soon, and some students may have applied to CAO, but they could still try and go for their local colleges as well at the moment, couldn't they? So like they could have their options open of
Absolutely.
having their CAO, but they could also apply to Monaghan Institute or Cavan Institute.
Yeah, I suppose like one of the things I would see an awful lot is 18, 19-year-olds who may drop out of college at third level come October, November. It's the wrong course. And, for a lot of that, I think actually doing a PLC course or doing a level 5 or a traineeship, and one of the local colleges, Monaghan Institute or Cavan Institute, that 1 year where you learn about putting a portfolio together, writing assignments, doing communication skills, maybe doing even some work experience. That 1 year, I think, is a really good way of preparing to go on to third level. I would encourage anybody that's really iffy about maybe their CAO choice and they're not sure if it's the right choice for them, they should definitely consider the likes of Monaghan Institute and Cavan Institute to do the level 5s, because it just might give them that extra year at home as well to mature, to earn a few, a bit more money. Especially now at the minute, look, it's difficult, I suppose, for a lot of first years going into study and what way it's going to be set up,
Mm-hmm. I know, and it's so true what you said, about maybe having a year just to kind of see what you like and settle in, because even myself, and I know loads of my friends, we were in courses and we only knew what they were about when we were sitting there on the first day, went, oh, this is actually what the course is about. So, it's a big commitment to maybe commit for 3 to 4 years doing a course. Whereas, if you want to try and do something for maybe a year and settle yourself and really feel like, you know what you want, then that's a real benefit.
Yeah, and a lot of the PLC courses actually have direct routes into some of the colleges. So they're not looking at points from your Leaving Cert, they're actually basing it on what you get in that QQI level 5. So they're definitely worth an option. You know, if you feel that you did your leaving cert and you didn't do as well, I suppose obviously now we're on predicted grades. So if you felt that your grades weren't enough, rather than choosing a course down the list that you have no interest in, you know, think about studying locally for the year and getting your head, better that year to maybe looking at doing something further afield. It's just, I suppose where I would see it is where the parents come in. If a student does start a course and it's the wrong course, they're into then an issue around fees as well. So if they drop out of a course and they want to go back the following year, then, you know, you're looking at hefty fees. So financially, it's not a good option either. So it's just, I know it's a difficult navigation, but it's just trying to make sure that you've looked at everything else and every possibility, because there is an awful lot out there.
And even like you're saying, with the CAO, you know, not just, you know, you might only get offered something that's way down your list and you're not interested in it. But I know what happens with Monaghan Institute and Cavan Institute, that around August then a lot of courses get freed up because people are changing their minds and swapping over and stuff, so that they can contact those colleges around that time to see if their space is freed up, because at the moment some of the courses might be fully booked, but things get swapped around August. Isn't that what happens?
Yeah, the last couple of weeks of August are a bit hectic actually, and there's an awful lot of that around, you know, contacting admissions and checking if courses are free. And even on the CAO as well, actually, if someone hasn't applied to the CAO, there is the available vacant places, it's called.
Yeah.
It comes out in August. Now, there's no real dates for the CAO at the minute, I suppose, with everything going on. So a lot of their dates are open-ended at the minute. But vacant places would mean, for the likes of, say, for the nearest, you know, third level here, it would be Dundalk IT. So Dundalk IT might have courses that they want to fill, and they will actually advertise them on vacant places. So even if you haven't applied to the CAO, you can still apply even in late August. So it's just something to bear in mind as well. It's probably not something that I would normally recommend because it's a big decision that late on, but it's an option that might be available to people.
Yeah, exactly. So there's lots of options available.
Absolutely. And
I think I should have a slogan for this, because I'm always saying the same thing every week, is that, you know, people not to worry and to just focus on the Leaving Cert or one path to education. There's loads of different paths to education, and that's what we're trying to show by having all the guests on, to say, look, there's different options and there's different ways of getting to where you want to go. And you know, it just doesn't have to be, I have to do brilliant in my Leaving Cert and then there's no other option of getting what I want. There is lots of different paths to take.
Yeah, and the other one I forgot to mention was the likes of the traineeships. So there's a number of those that are available in Cavan Institute and Monaghan Institute. In Cavan Institute, you have the hospitality traineeship, and there's one with youth work. I suppose the difference with the traineeships is there's a huge amount of work experience involved in those. So they're not all sitting in a classroom. They're very much work oriented, and they're really good. In Monaghan, you have the laboratory assistants, one where you'll be, you know, working in a laboratory. There's the OEM with Combilift and other engineering companies. So there's a few of those that are very, very good. If they're more practical, hands-on, they get you the same qualification at level 5 and possibility of employment at the end of them as well, which is really good, you know.
Yeah, and it's great to get that experience in.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remembered what I was going to ask you earlier now. You were talking about getting, you know, people trying to get experience and things. Would you recommend volunteering?
Absolutely, yeah. And there's even a volunteer centre in Monaghan, linked with Monaghan Integrated Development. So they have a website. I think it might be volunteermonaghan.ie possibly. Like at anything where you're, you know, if you have an interest in maybe working with people or something, you know, there's a huge amount of opportunities in volunteering. It just looks better. I mean, it looks really well on a CV, I think.
I know, and I know even in youth work in my field, it would be something that the employers would look at on the CV to see, are they doing any volunteering? And, you know, that they're getting their experience in with working with young people. So it is a good pathway of getting your experience in. So it might only be 1 or 2 hours a week or even a month. And it's just, it's being able to say that you know what it's like being in that work setting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I would well recommend it. It's better than a blank in your CV, you know.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay, Eithne, so we're coming to the end now. So how can people contact you then?
So we have a website, and it's CMETBadultguidance.ie. That's the first place they can have a look. We actually have a little animated one that it's only about 1 minute long, little animated video that kind of explains our service, and it's on that website. So, you know, if you don't want to read through trolls of information, you can just have a wee look at that. The number in Monaghan is 047 30800. And the email address then is actually straightforward. It's aegis, AEGIS, @CMETB.ie. So either of those, that's the Monaghan contact numbers and email address. So either of those will get us, and, you know, send your queries through and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
And what I'll do after the video is over, I'll put them in the comments underneath as well for people if they need them.
Perfect.
Okay, I think that's everything. If you're happy enough as well, there's nothing we missed out on.
I hope not. Thanks for having me on, Melissa.
Always a pleasure, and thanks for doing it. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll be back next week. And we also have LGBT Live on Mondays at 5:30 with Barry from Cavan and Monaghan Rainbow Youth. So see you then. So thanks everybody. And now to the bit where I go off.